Hello and welcome. Welcome, my friends, to the second season of Me, Mom, and Dad. Happy 2021. Happy summer. Um, it is June, and we are starting as a country to see the end of this awful pandemic tunnel. People are out. We're getting our COVID shots. Mom and I and Dad got ours in, I want to say, the beginning of March, maybe the end of February. And people are out and so excited to get out of this mess. For those new listeners, me, Mom, and Dad, we started doing this podcast a few years ago because we were sharing information to the Parkinson's community. My dad lived a fruitful life with Parkinson's, and we like to share what we learned with him uh, living with Parkinson's. And then the podcast just grew into us sharing recipes, as all of us, most of us in my family were cooks and bakers, and so we started sharing recipes. We started sharing some fun and laughter and faith. So stay tuned because I will share two recipes: easy lemon salmon in foil and blackberry crisp. So stay tuned. I do have some news for you, my friends. I hope it's not too sad. My dad passed away in April 15th. It is June now. And he did pass away. He did not pass away from Parkinson's, and he did not pass away from COVID. Just think we survived that whole year of that. And my dad went home to be with the Lord, and it was from other complications, uh, uh, other complications. I was trying to think of that word everybody uses, but my dad was a reverend, and natural causes. That's what I was trying to think of. Other natural causes he passed away from. My dad was 87. He lived a wonderful life, and I miss him so dearly, but I am at peace as well. And my mom is too, because my dad always told us to don't be sad for him when he went home to glory. He always said that to us since we were kids, my brother and I, and would get so mad when he'd say that. But he uh, he always said that, don't be sad for me, because I'm not afraid to go home to be home with the Lord. And with COVID going on, my mom and I and another sister from another mother, the three of us it was a miraculous miracle. We were allowed to go be in the room with my dad as he was going to sleep. We were allowed to be around him, hold his hand, stroke his head, and love on him. We sang to him until he quietly took his last breath. So I'm at peace, and I hope you guys are at peace, because we will continue to learn. Because at 87, my dad, you wouldn't have known that he had Parkinson's if you had folks would see him. If you hadn't told, they would say, if you had not told me, T, I wouldn't have known. Every day wasn't perfect, but most days he had a fruitful. He walked, and he worked out, and he was very fit, and he lived a fruitful life with Parkinson's, and we will continue to share the information that we learned. So, all you listeners, please don't be too sad. My dad is with us. I feel him all the time, and we will continue to share our wonderful information that we learned to the Parkinson's community. And those of you, as I said, my dad was a reverend, and keep the faith, my friends. We're still keeping the faith. My mom and I are doing okay. Uh, the other day, my mom and dad would have spent. It was their 65th wedding anniversary. And my mom was a little sad and a little melancholy about that. But the two of us and all of our family and friends continue to keep her spirits up as well as our own spirits. So keep the faith, my friends. That's what my dad always said to us to don't be sad for him. And I remember that, and I suppose we us being able to spend time with him as he went home to glory and singing with him gave me a special peace. And we also planted a tree for my dad, and I feel his presence all the time. I hope you guys are out there getting those vaccine shots and being safe and enjoying this summer. You know, that pandemic was awful. Just think, my dad survived that pandemic. Seniors couldn't go anywhere, and my mom and I are going out, enjoying a few meals. We're still being safe, with our masks, but it's the end of June, and we're going more places, and we are thankful that we see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what we share on this podcast, too. Just keeping the faith, keeping our heads up, and I hope that you guys are doing that, too. Keep the faith. My dad was a reverend, and he always told us, get out the Lord's way and trust in the Lord. And I hope you guys will do that, too. I will continue to share with the Parkinson's community. You new listeners, my dad was on his medication was cortidopa levodopa. That was the yellow pill, we call it. I haven't seen it be any other color than yellow. That's the Parkinson's medication. And remember the previous episodes, I was always sharing that the key to my dad living a fruitful life was allowing the medication to absorb properly. So that was giving him his medication 2 hours before and after a meal. So to make it clear, in the morning, we would give him his yellow pill, cortidopa levodopa, early in the morning, about 5 o'clock, on an empty stomach. That was the key. And then we'd let that medication absorb for 2 hours, and he would eat breakfast after the 2 hours. And then we would let that meal absorb for 2 hours. And so then he wouldn't have his second medication pill after his food would absorb. And then he would have his second cortidopa levodopa. If that explains, that is the key. I've known friends, or I know friends who have family members, or know family members who have Parkinson's, and sometimes they're taking that medication with a meal or not waiting long enough, and that was the key. We didn't know that at first when my dad was diagnosed. We were giving it to him maybe with his meal, his medication, or waiting only 30 minutes, and he couldn't walk. And we thought he'd be in a wheelchair. And once a nurse explained it to me that 2 hours before and after, and that's what we did. When he gets that first medication, Parkinson's medication, we wait 2 hours. And after he eats, we wait 2 hours. And that's the key. Another key, my friends, is working out. My dad, before getting diagnosed, he always worked out. So I suppose that was easy, but it's a miracle worker just walking on the treadmill or riding that bike, keeping the muscles strong through the Parkinson's was the key to most days. My dad, he lived a fruitful life with that, from working out. And so get to it, my friends. With my dad passing, my mom and I still continue to go to the Y and working out. Even not having Parkinson's is working out is the key. My mom, Gloria, uh, she's having some stiffness in her back, and with my dad passing and with COVID, uh, we couldn't go to the gym as much because the COVID-19 was spreading all around. We do have a stationary bike in the garage, but we needed more. Her back is stiff at the moment, so we are working on getting her. Since she's been back working out, her back is less stiff. So I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to myself too. Keep your body moving. That is the key. Do it for Harold, my dad. In his memory, I keep going to that gym. And, let's keep our spirits up coming out of this crazy, dark pandemic tunnel. Yep, that is the key. So keep us in your prayers, those of you listening to this podcast. I will continue doing this podcast because my mom and I are keeping the faith, and I will continue to share with the Parkinson's community all that we have learned because we learned some valuable lessons. Move that body, move that body. Keep your spirits up. However, this pandemic, a lot of everybody started taking up other uh, activities and found new adventures, and new things to do, gardening, and people have been painting and trying to get back to. The pandemic has remind us to value value nature and value loving one another. My mom and I have always planted. My mom has got a green thumb. She's got a whole new pots and plants out on the back porch, and now we have more. I suppose it was because of the pandemic, but she's always done gardening. My mom is a great seamstress as well. In high school, she made a bunch of my outfits for different events, in the band or chorus or whatever was going on. And so she's back sewing. We got her a sewing machine, and we've been taking up some new things too. And that is how when my dad was going through the Parkinson's, one of the symptoms of Parkinson's is you Parkinson's can bring on a depression. And so to counter that, my family, my brother, he comes to visit us about once a month. And that's how we kept our joy up too. And we still are doing that. My brother will come, my sister will come. We made a choice years ago when my dad got diagnosed with Parkinson's to family decided to come visit more and to gather around my mom and dad, and it would bring such joy to his face just to make sure no depression would set in. So without Parkinson's, I think that we all have learned that to just love one another and gather together now that we see the cases of COVID going down in this country. I see us gathering more and having barbecues more, and that's what it's all about. That's what we've learned, right, through this pandemic. So let's continue it. Um, I still feel my dad more than ever. His spirit around us, watching over us. And so I hope you guys are loving one another, hugging one another. If you got that vaccine shot, you can hug. Hey, let's look at these recipes. Since we are on the grill, we're back on the grill. My brother comes to visit us often, and he is on the grill. I love the grill. So this doesn't say grill, but I like to put it on the grill because it's in foil and it's fun. Easy lemon salmon in foil. So here's what you need. You need a half cup of unsalted butter, melted, a fourth cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice, and a zest of one lemon. Three cloves of garlic minced, 1 teaspoon of dried dill, or you can use more dill to taste. Kosher salt and freshly ground pepper to taste. 2 pounds of salmon. Some people say salmon, some people say salmon. I guess it's where you're from. 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh dill. So the dill I said before was 1 teaspoon of dry dill. And then the second dill is 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh dill. Okay? Now, this is, you can put this in the oven. So if you're putting it in the oven, you set your oven at 375. Prepare a baking sheet by lining it with aluminum foil. Whisk your butter, lemon juice, and your lemon zest, and your garlic, and your dill, and salt, pepper. Uh, Whisk all that together. Place your salmon over the foil on the prepared baking dish. Fold up all four sides of the aluminum foil. Drizzle the butter mixture over the salmon, and then you seal the foil packet until closed. You will bake this for 15 or 20 minutes. Remove from the oven. If the salmon is flaky easily with a fork, it is fully cooked. Now, that's when you're putting it in the oven. If you got the grill going, the foils all sealed up, put it on those coals, my friends. Delicious. Put it on the coals, and it will be so good. So if you got hot coals, I usually have a hot side of I use charcoal when I'm grilling. Charcoal and that fluid, yeah. I don't use gas. So if you're using gas, most people like a hot part of the grill and a not so part of the grill. So put it on the hot part of the grill for maybe 10 minutes and then slide it over to the not so cuz my charcoal grill on the hot side, it's hot. It would be, well, if you have the grill where it tells you the temperature, putting it in the oven says 375. So probably my hot part of the grill is probably like 400 or 500. So the low side would be a lower temperature. So there you go. And the foil salmon. So here's this your dessert, my friends. Blackberry crisp. And you don't have to use blackberry. You can use apples. I like cherries, any fruit, but this is blackberry. So here's your ingredients. This is for the topping of your crisp. 1.5 cup of old-fashioned. Oh, sorry. Start again. One and a half cup of old-fashioned quick oats. Oh, well, you can do the old-fashioned oats, or you can use the quick oats. And you'll see the names in the grocery store of whether it's old-fashioned. They're kind of two different. Quick oats is just like instant. So you need the oats, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of brown sugar, a 4th cup of salt. No. Sorry. 4th teaspoon of salt. Don't do a 4th cup of salt. Sorry. 4th teaspoon of salt. 1 cup of butter cut into small pieces. And then for your fruit, you need 8 cups of fresh blackberries, washed and dried. A 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. A 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. 1 teaspoon of fresh lemon juice. So here you go. You begin by turning your oven on 350, letting it get warmed up. In a mixing bowl, combine the oats, flour, brown sugar, and salt. Using a pastry blender or a fork, Okay, you're going to chop this stuff up. That's why they say a pastry blender, or you're going to use your fork if you don't have the pastry blender. Add the butter and combine until the mixture is crumbly. So that means if you have a fork, you're going to uh, chop all that up, mix it up with your fork. I usually use the fork, but you can if you use the blender, combining all that up in your pastry blender. In another mixing bowl, add the blackberries and the sugar and the flour and the lemon juice. Stir until coated. Your flour is so that your blackberries won't just all go down to the bottom. Anyway, then lightly grease a 9 by 13-inch pan and place the fruit mixture on the top. Place the fruit mixture on the bottom of your grease pan. Top with the oat mixture. Bake for 45 minutes or until fruit is bubbling and crisp. Topping has turned a golden brown. Bake for 45 minutes. Oh, that sounds good. Allow the crisp to rest for 10 or 15 minutes. Put some vanilla ice cream on there or any kind of ice cream. I hope you enjoy those recipes, my friends. All right. Remember, to my Parkinson's community, exercise, 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 exercise is the key. It is the key to fighting Parkinson's. I'm a witness. My family and friends are a witness. My dad lived a fruitful life and allowing the medications to absorb. Lots more information I will share. We along with his medications, we did some with his food. We did do some things that helped as well too, and I will always share fun. I will also always share great information that we learned when my dad was battling Parkinson's. Remember, if you can, please subscribe to this podcast. It is called Me, Mom, and Dad, but we will continue. It'll be me sharing still what we learned with my dad because it's valuable information that we learned, and it's still my mom and I moving forward and enjoying life, and sharing these wonderful recipes. Years ago, my mom and I, my dad too, we had a bakery here in our town, so we know how to bake and we know how to cook, and we'll continue to share wonderful, wonderful, wonderful recipes. I hope you guys are having the most awesome summer. You see, everybody's out. Man, that pandemic, we're coming out, but it sure did make us all value our loved ones and value life, because, wasn't it crazy, you guys? It's still not going 100%, but things are better. We're vaccinated. I hope you guys are vaccinated. Yeah, we got the Moderna way back, my mom and dad and I, because they were seniors. They vaccinated the seniors first, and I'm the caregiver, so I got to get vaccinated with them. So I hope you guys are staying safe. Please subscribe to this podcast. As you're listening, you look up the top at all those icons, and it's the Wi-Fi looking on icon up there. And you click on that, and that is how you subscribe. Please subscribe and continue to listen and support us, and pray for my mom and I and my family as we're missing Dad. But I feel his presence all the time. And please continue to listen to our podcast and subscribe. Exercise. Move that body. I'm talking to myself too. Moving that body. All right. Thank you for listening. And please enjoy the music, my friends. Happy summer.